So I saw Venom a couple of days ago. I suppose I want to start with an apology. I'm sorry that I ever said anything bad about this perfect movie. I'm joking a little bit, exaggerating just a tad. I think the movie is probably not great as a whole. There's a lot of things wrong with it, but I loved it, and I really was not expecting to. I've been making fun of this movie since the first trailer came out. The whole trailer looked really stupid. I thought they were going like dark and gritty with it, which was why the turd in the wind line was so stupid. And when it's in the actual film, it's still very stupid, but it makes more sense because you have the context of the tone of the rest of the film. Quickly before I go into spoilers and talk about very specific details about the whole film, if you are willing to overlook some of the many problems in the movie and just go with how silly and goofy it is and get fully invested in Tom Hardy's ridiculous performance, you'll probably have a really good time. This is one of my best cinema going experiences ever, possibly. Like, it's up there. The movie is ridiculous. It works somehow, and this obviously isn't going to be the same for everyone. I mean, like, the Rotten Tomatoes score, what is it? It's like 30% or something. I feel like if you're going in expecting like a good superhero movie, like the Marvel movies, that's not what you're gonna get. The two best things about this movie are Tom Hardy's performance and his relationship with Venom. And if you go in not expecting like great action scenes and the kind of stuff you expect in a superhero movie, and instead go in just wanting like, I want to see Tom Hardy being weird, and I want to see him make friends with an alien goo monster, like, you're gonna love it. Those are the best things in the film. So yeah, spoilers from here on in. If you don't want to know what the movie is all about, time to run away. So I guess now I can talk about some like specific stuff in the movie that was amazing. I feel like everyone is gonna love the lobster scene. Tom Hardy has recently absorbed Venom into himself. Basically Venom's like, he's an alien symbiote, he needs a host to attach to survive. If he doesn't, he'll die. So he attaches to Tom Hardy, and they're getting to know each other. And Tom Hardy is freaking out, and he's really hungry. He's just so hungry. He goes into a restaurant where his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend are. Tom Hardy's given the performance of his life. He's grabbing stuff off people's plates and just eating it. When he first goes into the restaurant, there's kind of a lingering shot on the tank that's full of lobsters who are still alive. And as soon as we had that shot of the lobster tank, I was like, scene's gonna end, he's gonna eat a lobster. Like a live lobster straight out of that tank. And it's gonna be gross. It's gonna weird everyone out. I did not go far enough with my prediction. He goes in and he starts eating stuff off everyone's plate. And then he says, I'm really hot. I'm so warm. I'm Tom Hardy and I'm really hot in this restaurant. And he gets in the lobster tank. And he's sat in the lobster tank. And he's just like, he's grabbing a lobster and he's eating just this live lobster. And, oh, it's a real good scene. It sure is something. And the movie's got just so many moments like this. The whole movie works because Tom Hardy he's willing to go there. Before that scene happens, he's just been overnight in the evil guy's lab. And that's when he gets Venom attached to him. And he comes home and he's all like, he's sweating and he's freaking out a little bit. I think he's really hungry. So he's in the fridge and he's like getting a beer out and he's like, oh yeah, and he's on the phone to someone. He's like, oh, I need you to call me back. I've got a fever. I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. Closes the fridge door, opens the freezer. I'm thinking, oh, he's got a fever or something. He's gonna get like a bag of peas to put on his head. Forget that. He grabs a bag of frozen chicken nuggets out, rips it open, and is just pouring frozen chicken nuggets in his mouth. And he's chowing down on these frozen chicken nuggets. And he's like rummaging in his bin, and he's like eating like just like chicken bones, and like it's just gross. I don't know why I love this movie so much, but like just scenes like this, you're not gonna get something like this in Avengers 4. Tony Stark's not gonna be eating frozen chicken nuggets. It's incredible. The closest thing, movie-wise, that I could connect this scene to is the scene from A Ghost Story where Rooney Mara sits and eats a whole pie. It's a very good movie with like things to say, and there's me in the theatre watching Venom being like, this is like that scene where Rooney Mara eats a whole pie, and it's Tom Hardy just eating frozen chicken nuggets. Another thing I want to talk about is how the movie sets up and pays off everything. You know, like how a movie does. We're setting up that Eddie Brock, that's the name of the character. I've been calling him Tom Hardy the whole time. His name's Eddie Brock. We're setting up that he's like down on his luck, but he's still a nice guy. So he's been drinking at a bar, and he's walking down the street, and he sees there's a homeless lady called Maria, and Eddie looks for the paper, and he's like, Maria, where are all the papers gone? And Maria's like, I've been saving them all. I'll sell you one for $5. And Eddie's like, that's a good deal, Maria. You know what? I'll give you 20. And it's like, Eddie Brock is a nice guy, and he gets on with everyone. After this scene, he goes into the like local kind of corner shop. It's not on a corner. Do you have corner shops in America? Maybe that's a very British way to call it. It's like a small like independent shop. And he's like, hi Mrs. Chan, and he's like, oh, he knows everyone. And she gets threatened by a man who like demands some money, and that's like setting that up for later, because that's the turd in the wind scene when he turns up later. And it like sets up all these things. So when you notice that Maria is not where she was on the street corner later, and you find out that the bad guy Riz Ahmed has been testing the Venom symbiotes on vulnerable people, you're like, oh no, Maria has been got by the bad guy, because it's been set up. When Tom Hardy's in the shop earlier in the film and the guy threatens the woman and he can't do anything about it, you know that when he comes in later in the film and Tom Hardy's got all his crazy Venom powers now, he's gonna do something good about it, because he's a nice guy. So yeah, it just sets up and pays off everything, and I loved that in the movie. Early on in the movie, Tom Hardy goes to see his boss, and they're in an office that's really high up, and Tom Hardy's kind of stood back a little bit, and he's like not going near the window, so he's kind of scared of heights. And in the cinema, I'm like, he's gonna have to do something high up later in the film, and it comes up a number of times. It's like, it's doing movie things. So I suppose we'll get to the elephant in the room, which is all the Eddie Brock Venom shipping that has appeared recently. So this is kind of the thing that got me more interested in seeing the film. I was interested in seeing it purely on like, it looks really bad and the reviews are not good, and like, I just want to go to the cinema and laugh at the movie for 2 hours. The weekend before I saw the movie, a friend of mine said, I really want to see Venom because of all the shipping. And yeah, it's a thing that exists. And after seeing the movie, I totally get it. Maybe not on the level of some people, but like, I know where you're coming from here. The relationship between Eddie Brock and Venom is the best part of the film. It's one of the reasons that the movie works so well. Because if this was like Zack Snyder DC universe, dark and gritty, it would have been completely different. But as it is, the relationship between Eddie Brock and Venom is so sincere and genuine that it's really endearing to see. It's Eddie Brock, he's ex-journalist, he's down on his luck, and he's just met Alien Slime Man. He wants to bite people's heads off, but he needs to work together with Tom Hardy to survive. And it's just like how they kind of get on is just, it's the core of the film. How they humanize Venom, like, as the film goes on. When we're first introduced to the Venom voice, he's just it's kind of like a disembodied voice, and he says like one word at a time. And the first scene we kind of like really get to know him is like a big chase scene. So Riz Ahmed's goons come to Eddie Brock's flat, and they're pointing their tasers at him, and Eddie Brock's putting his hands up, and Venom's like, "Put your hands down, you're making us look bad." And it's just the fact that the way that they did the voice is like a big booming over the top dubbed over voice is great. It's very goofy, and it's probably the most direct way of doing it, and it works because of it. Like every time that Eddie refers to Venom as a parasite, Venom's like, "Apologize," because it hurts his feelings, and they don't need that because they're good pals and they don't want to hurt each other's feelings. And there's a point in the movie, Venom is turning against his alien race of slime people who want to take over the world, and Eddie Brock is like, "Why are you helping me now? Don't you want to take over the world with your slime buddies?" And he's like, "No, Eddie, I'm doing this for you," because they're friends now. If this was dark and gritty Zack Snyder movie, they wouldn't be allowed to do that. They'd be like, "Oh, they can't sincerely express their feelings towards each other because they're men, and oh, it needs to be very serious, and we can't have any sincere moments in the movie. It's not badass to tell your alien space husband that you love him." But Venom, it just goes there. "Yeah, Eddie, I care about you, and I'm going to risk my life to save your planet. Thanks, Venom. You've beaten toxic masculinity all by yourself." I guess I should talk about some stuff about the movie that I didn't like. I mean, there's nothing like too bad in the film. It feels kind of dated, like feels like it should have come out a while ago in like the early 2000s when they were just like making superhero movies and they didn't really know where to fit in, because like this is so out there from the newer Marvel movies. So the main villain of the movie is the classic superhero problem. The main villain is just Venom but big and a different colour. Their name is Riot. They are another symbiote that looks very similar to Venom, except they're a bit more red and they're less nice to look at. And when they have the fight at the end, it's impossible to tell what's going on because they look very similar. It's a big CGI mess. Luckily for us, it doesn't last that long. It's like 5 minutes. It's really stupid while it's happening. You've got to have a big action scene at the end of the movie. Venom's actual comic book design is kind of a CGI mess. Of course, that's what it's going to look like in the film. I actually really appreciated the lack of action scenes. It took a while to get going, and it was maybe like half an hour or so before we actually had an action scene, which is really refreshing in a superhero movie. It was a bit slow at the start though, and there was a lot of moments where I was like, huh? But it was mostly pretty good. The budget wasn't as high as most of these other superhero movies, which meant they couldn't put in as many action scenes. I think it worked to their advantage because it meant that they could focus on the interesting things in the film instead of having a big CGI man like punch people. So if you want like an action movie, it's probably not for you. You know what? I was saying the other day that they don't make E.T. movies anymore. That was like an 80s and 90s staple. It was child finds alien and they bond and they have to hide them from the government. If you look at this movie kind of like that, it's a bit of an E.T. movie. Eddie Brock finds and bonds with alien goo. Riz Ahmed wants to take the goo off him. I'll be honest, the whole plot of the movie is like, it's pretty much nonsense. And like there's a few bits where it like just kind of doesn't add up in the movie universe. The bad guys catch Tom Hardy and he doesn't have Venom attached to him anymore, and they're like, well, we just kill Tom Hardy. And to kill him, they like march him like a mile out of the compound to give Venom time to come and save him. But Riz Ahmed has been killing people in his labs for the whole movie. Why are you gonna take Tom Hardy all the way out there to kill him? You could just kill him in here. It's not like you're against killing people in your labs. You do it all the time, mate. So just like stuff like that throughout the film. But it's like, it's not a big enough deal to put you off the movie. So here is an ending to the video that I didn't think I was gonna end up saying. I really recommend Venom. I'm not sure if it's a good movie, but I really loved it. And it might just be my like love for Tom Hardy showing. Like, I think he can elevate any movie with his performance because he's amazing. It's kind of great. And usually when you hear these things and it's like, fans love it, but the critics hate it, I usually side with the critics because it's something dumb like Justice League or Batman vs Superman, and it's like, it's just not good. But Venom is like, there's a lot of heart in this movie. There's a lot of good, weird dialogue. Tom Hardy's given a ridiculous performance. So if you think you want to see a movie about a man befriending an alien slime dude, this is for you. If you want to see a big budget superhero movie, don't go see Venom. It's not aimed at you. The after credits scene or whatever, they're teasing Venom 2 or like a Carnage movie or something, and it's Woody Harrelson. What? Sony's like Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man is just gonna try and like mop up all the big name actors who haven't been in a Marvel or DC movie already. So I don't know what Sony are planning on doing next, and I don't know if like Venom 2 it might get a bigger budget and it might lead to it losing a bit of that special stuff that I loved in this film. But yeah, I really recommend Venom. It's a really fun time and I loved it. Go show this video to like me from a couple of months ago. I would not believe it. Oh, and before you go, I'll put a link somewhere to the new Let's Play series I've been doing with my friend Will. It's over on his channel and it's gonna be somewhere on the screen. I'm still getting used to doing end screens, so there might be like a video from me like here and like my channel over here maybe, and maybe I'll put Will's channel somewhere. Have fun doing that in post, future me. Bye bye!